Good morning, everyone, or good day, whenever you're watching this. I was starting to prepare for the Scott Fish Bowl, which starts in a little over an hour, actually. I've been behind, for sure. And I thought, why don't I hack together a video here to show how I'm prepping Draft Buddy for the Scott Fish Bowl. And for those who don't know, that is a pretty involved league in terms of format. It is super flex. The scoring's a little weird, so we'll do something with that. Um, and it is a huge event for charity that you really should check out if you don't know about the Scott Fish Bowl. Mostly communicated on Twitter. Check out hashtag SFB12 for this year. Anyways, okay, so here's Draft Buddy. This will be the file as if you downloaded it, off the server, brand new. It's got default settings in here. And fortunately, I was in the Scott Fish Bowl last year as well, so I have a Draft Buddy file from the year before. So let me open that. And from that, I can copy over settings. So I've got that in my Fantasy Football Leagues folder. Let me find it here. DB for Draft Buddy 2021, SFB11. So there it is right there. Let me open that up. Now I've got multiple things running on the computer. Of course, everything's going a bit slower. Okay, here it is here. Let me enable macros on this one, which may not be entirely necessary, but we will. And you can see here, so here's the rules tab for Scott Fish Bowl 11. And I think I should really check this, but I think the rules and the scoring are very similar to the prior year. We'll double check that in the end. But you can see it's a 12-team league, 22 rounds. And I've got in here for starters last year 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 3 flex. So you are starting 11 each week. Now, kickers were allowed to be started even last year, this year as well. I didn't put any in. I think at the time, kickers were penalized for missed field goals. I wasn't really interested in drafting kickers. I didn't think I was. And so I set them at 0 here. I mean, it's really going to just impact your overall rankings. Kickers are still going to be projected, ranked in Draft Buddy on the on the offense tab, as you can see. So they're available, to refer to draft, but in terms of setting the overall rankings, you can fuss around with the starters and backups a little bit as you like. I mean, in fact, there's actually more flex positions in the Scott Fish Bowl than 3. Some of these aren't required, but I thought, well, at a minimum, I'm going to try to draft. I think most seasons are going to draft, expecting to have at least 2 running backs are starting each week, expecting at least 3 wide receivers are starting each week, at least 1 tight end. So, why not put these in here, and we'll let and set the flex at 3. And then, the backups are kind of like how I expect most teams to draft their backups. At the end of the day, I expect most teams to have 4 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 7 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, on average. Okay, and then plus the flex spots. So, okay, so this is, again, last year's. I'll look at the scoring tab here. So we can see that there are, points for pass completions, points against for attempts or incompletions. And, the rest of the scoring doesn't look too different here. 1 per 10 on the rushing yards. There are, half a point reception for running backs, and wide receivers, but then tight ends are more, so it's 1 point per reception for tight ends. There's also first down scoring, which I don't think I included last year. Now, we don't have projections in Draft Buddy by default for first downs, but I have a source for projections which do include first downs. I think I'm going to include those this year. And, I'm going to have to add those to Draft Buddy and then use the custom scoring tab for you get the scoring in there for those first downs. Anyway, so a lot of talk, no action here. Let's copy over these settings to start with into our 2022 file. And to do that, I'm going to go to the Action tab. I need to put in the proper name of that file I just opened, which was db_2021 SFB11. Okay, and I'm going to copy league settings. And Draft Buddy's going to go back and forth between the 2021 file, the 2022 file, and copy over all the settings into this file. So then we have the updated player pool, updated projections, updated depth charts, etc. And um, and then we can start adjusting our 2022 file the way we see fit. It's got to copy the rules tab kind of in pieces a little bit since we're working with Excel. It's got to copy the scoring tab over, and then it's going to prompt me to compile cheat sheets, which I guess I will, sure. Even though we know we're going to make changes, I'll compile cheat sheets for these settings. Draft Buddy should close the 2021 file as well. Okay. Okay, so there we go. So we've got, let's look at the rules tab here. So the rules tab copied over the name. Okay, so I'm actually not in the REM division this year. I am in. Okay, and you can see all these settings are the same as what we had in the 2021 file. Okay, we've got the same starters and backups. We've got 22 rounds. This is different from the default. The scoring is here, and it did prompt me to compile cheat sheets after copying over everything. And here's the, here's the result. You see the quarterback scoring is pretty high. Running backs, wide receivers do tail off here a little bit, half PPR, and we should see the tight ends fairly high. Of course, these projections are the FF Today projections, which are by default included in Draft Buddy. Now, this is probably a good time to save the file. In my case especially, I don't want to save it with this file name because I want this file saved elsewhere. So I'm going to save as macro-enabled workbook. I even want it in a different folder. I want it back in that FF Leagues, Fantasy Football Leagues folder of mine. And I'm going to just shorten this down to DB 2022 and identify the league as SFB12. Okay. Now, let's make some changes here. I might need a new computer. Okay, rules. Now I actually am going to add the kickers in here this time, so I'm going to go one kicker, one backup, because I think people are showing more interesting kickers this year from early draft results. Maybe I'll drop the wide receivers down to 2 and the backups to 3. Because they're drafted later, and we'll still keep the O-flex at 3. So, and you can see, it is a super flex league. Most teams are going to want to start 2 quarterbacks, so I just put in 2 quarterbacks as the starters directly, and then the O-flex or offensive flex is just checked off for running back, wide receiver, tight end. Okay, and that's how I would, suggest most people who are in a super flex league do it. You're setting up your draft. You want your draft board to reflect the value of the quarterbacks. So let's, that most people are going to draft quarterbacks early and try to get 2. Let's just put 2 in for the starters and then leave the flex spot for the other positions. Okay, but I've still got 11 total starters and backups here. So that's fine. So we got the kickers. Now we're going to check the scoring here. Well, I know the scoring is going to change a little bit if I put in the first downs. So let's do the first downs because that's a little bit involved. So the first downs, I'm getting data from 4for4.com, which is a subscription site, and I work for. But I do highly suggest that you subscribe to 444, and because they got a ton of great content all year. John Paulson does the projections. He is excellent, has an amazing track record. So 444.com. There's the plug. Here are the rankings, John's rankings, projections right now on the website. You can see there's the quarterback rankings. We can change positions. We have League Sync tool, so I can sync to different leagues. But what I want is I want to get these projections into Draft Buddy, okay? Because if you've explored the file before, you know if you go down here to the position tabs, here are the quarterbacks, and this yellow section are the projections from FF Today, which we update weekly from here to the start of the season. You can update them right in Draft Buddy. Pretty easy. But here are the prior year stats in these white sections. And if I keep going to the right here, we've got 2 other yellow sections where you can put projections in. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put projections in from 444. And then we even have these, of course, there's no columns here for first downs, but we have a way around that too. So we have sections here for, custom fields. And I'm going to put the first down projections in here, here, and here for each position. And then we can add them to the custom scoring tab and include them in our projected rankings. So, yeah, we got a lot going on here. But let me go here, okay? And if I download CSV, and this is the best way. You can get projections from somewhere. You want to put other projections in Draft Buddy. If you can download them into Excel, that's the best way to do it. So I already did download these, which opened up automatically in another version of Excel. And here they are right here. So we can see it wasn't just the quarterbacks. We downloaded them all at once. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. Okay, and then scrolling across here, you can see here's passing first downs, rushing first downs, receiving first downs. So we have a lot of detailed projections here, which we can put in Draft Buddy. So how do we do that? We need Projection Pal. We need another tool to get the projections into Draft Buddy aligned with the right players. Because I can't just copy these over. I can't just say, okay, copy all these, put them in Draft Buddy, and then I'm like, oh wait, they're all out of order here because these players are in different order than they are over here. That's where Projection Pal comes in. So let me open Projection Pal in the same copy of Excel that I have Draft Buddy running. So I'm going to open Projection Pal, which is in my Draft Buddy football folder. Need the 2022 version right here. Enable macros, because we will need those. Okay, and this, I think this includes projections from Fantasy Pros, which I put in when I created Projection Pal for this year and tested it out. So these are projections from Fantasy Pros, already included from quite a month ago, mind you. I want to get these projections into Projection Pal. And the important thing for us is the names. We want them actually in first name, last name format, same as they're in Draft Buddy, and they already are, which is great. All right, so let me just copy this. I'm going to include the headings even. I just want the quarterbacks. I have to do this position at a time. Quarterback. Right down to Trevor Siemian. Just there's a bunch of stuff here that won't go into Draft Buddy, but that's okay. Control C to copy, back to Projection Pal, right here, and yeah, Control V to paste. Didn't like that. Coming from a different version of Excel. Let's try paste special as text. There we go. That's better. Often paste specialist text is the better way. It removes the formulas, it removes the formatting, and then we just have the data we want to work with. Okay. Does this stretch it beyond? Stretches it a bit beyond, but that's okay. Okay. Now we have our player names. I guess I should have checked if the Fancy Pros ones went beyond, and they did. So here's Trevor Simeon was our last one, and these guys went beyond, because they're from the old Fancy Pros ones. So let me just clear these out. Highlight, clear, all. Okay. Now we just have the 4 projections in here. So if I want to get these in Draft Buddy, I need to adjust these headings in the yellow row here. And I want that first name, last name on the left. So first name, last name here. This is the position. That does not matter to us. So just change it to other. Team doesn't matter. Other. Fantasy points doesn't matter. We're going to calculate that ourselves. ADP, we don't care about. Passes. This is supposed to be pass completions. Better make sure I have the right heading. Use the drop down. Pass completions. Okay. Not rush attempts. This is pass attempts. Okay. These are from the old projections, so that's just confusing, a little confusing. Pass attempts. Okay, passing yards. So you see my kind of format here. Pass TDs, pass INTs, rushing attempts, rushing yards, rushing TDs, receptions. Yeah, receptions not valid for quarterbacks. So have them marked other, passing first downs. This is relevant. This is what we want. So this one's going to be custom 1. Okay, and rushing first downs is relevant for quarterbacks. So this is going to be custom 2. Okay, and that is going to push these into Draft Buddy in these custom columns here, lined up with the proper player. And then the rest probably is not going to matter for the quarterbacks. Oh, well, fumbles. Make sure I've got it. Yeah, that's not a valid entry. Fumbles lost. Now we got here extra points, field goals, kickers. So the kicker projections are also in the 4-for-4 projections further down. Okay, we have all the quarterback projections and from 4-for-4 on this quarterback raw tab, quarterback clean tab. Here they are, kind of picked up on the clean tab, and this is what's going to get copied over. Okay, we don't have a 300-yard passing and rushing projections number of games, but that's okay. I don't think we use them in this league. So I want to get these over into Draft Buddy. We see some aren't matching up here. So who do we have? We have Sam Darnold, Mitchell Trubisky. Oh, I bet he is in there. But John in 4-for-4 probably have him as Mitch Trubisky. Where are you? Here he is, yes, Mitch Trubisky. So if I change this to Mitchell, then he matches up. Matt Corral, probably no projections for him. Taylor Heineke, that's something. Okay, over here on the raw tab, I want to, let's check this. I want the projections, I want custom field 1 to copy over, and 2. Now, copy to Draft Buddy. Oh, that was a mistake. I don't have the right file name specified. So this is probably opening another copy of Draft Buddy and putting these projections in it. That's exactly what it's doing. See, even after working with this for years, still you can miss a step. It's easy to do, but also easy to correct once it runs through the process. I'm guessing the file it's opening is the default file that I had open the first time with the same name, with the full Draft Buddy Football 2022, and there it is. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you see here the file name. Now Excel's getting even slower because now I have multiple copies of Draft Buddy open. And it's copying custom 1, and it's copying custom 2. There it is. So there's our first downs. There's our first downs, and there's our rushing, passing and rushing first downs for quarterbacks. Okay. You got done? You're done. Okay. Good. Here are the 444 projections, but they're in the wrong file. Okay. Yeah, see, here's my original file, Draft Buddy Football 2022. 1.1 is actually my master file. I don't want to make changes to this. So sadly, I got to close that and save changes. No. Here's what I forgot to do. Back in Projection Pal, you can see here are our projections. We copied them in. Here's the clean tab. I need to change this file name right here because I want them in the Draft Buddy file I have open, which is db_2022 SFB12. Okay. And site B, yes, I want them in the first yellow section. It doesn't really matter, first or B or C, but I'll put them in first because it is empty. And this is the file I have open. Check the file name again. Okay, same process. Back here, copy to Draft Buddy. Now it shouldn't. Not on OneDrive. Okay, sorry for the delay there. I ran into a bit of a problem. I realized I had the file that I created for the Scott Fishbowl Draft Buddy. I had a typo in the file name, and then it was giving me some issue about can't find the file on OneDrive. Honestly, OneDrive drives me a bit nuts because it just you're looking for files in the cloud. I don't want to connect with files on the cloud. I want to connect with files on my computer. So, I got in here. I'm like, okay, I fixed the file name. I had just a typo, I DBL or something else. I mistyped, and what I found is if we change these files to, right click, always keep this on my device. Okay, then it changes the cloud to a little green check mark. I went back over here into my Draft Buddy folder and did the same thing with the projection pal file we were working in. And now I've changed it. I've actually saved it as _444. You can see it up here. Also right clicked. Always keep this on the device. Let's get out of the OneDrive stuff and keep it. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, jeez. Let's keep it on the hard drive where it's easier for the files to find each other. Okay, back to it here. We're in Projection Pal. I've got the 444 projections. I want to copy them to Draft Buddy. These are the quarterbacks. So I'm on the quarterback raw tab. I've made sure that the file name is correct. I've got the file open because then it also is easier for Excel to find the other file. And here is a section where the projections are going to go. This is the quarterback tab, site B, and then those first down projections are going to go in the custom fields here. So let's run this from PAL, copy to Draft Buddy. And this should be even a little faster than that first attempt because it's not opening another file and putting them there. If you ever are copying projections from PAL to Draft Buddy and notice players missing their projections, like some of them work, but one or two don't, it's probably because the name isn't right. It's probably the name doesn't match up exactly. So PAL thinks it can't find the player, and then you should just go back to PAL, adjust the name, or use the name changes tab in PAL right over here. And you can see I already have some common examples here. And then PAL will go through, find find the names. See, even Trubisky, he might have worked actually. I did change him, but that might have worked. Should have worked. And that's how you fix that. So, okay, so now we are in Draft Buddy, and I've got these projections, and they're the 4-4 projections, and here are the first down projections in the custom fields. Now, instead of showing every position, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to put in the rest of the projections and into Draft Buddy from PAL using the same way for each different position, and then I'll come back and then we'll adjust the custom scoring, use these projections maybe to do the cheat sheets, and see what we come up with. Okay, I'm back. Did anyone time me? I have projections now in Draft Buddy for from 4-for-4 for running backs, including first downs for rushing and receiving, wide receivers. Oh, I didn't do the kickers. Wide receivers. Okay, and only the receiving first downs. That's all that's projected for them. Tight ends as well. Okay, I had a few name changes. 4-for-4 is Michael Pittman Jr. We have him as Michael Pittman. You can see up here. So A.J. Dillon was different because they have the dots in A.J. We do not. Michael Pittman was added here. Had a couple more wide receivers. K.J. Hamler. Dwayne Eskridge is now D. Eskridge, which we have in Draft Buddy. So simply adding them here and rerunning the copy to Draft Buddy will then push those players into Draft Buddy. And I didn't do the kickers. So let's do the kickers. I did put the projections in. I just forgot to push them over. Nothing for the custom fields for this one. Copy to Draft Buddy kickers. Okay. Assuming no name mismatches, then these should go in pretty well. And there's only 2 fields projected by 4-for-4. Extra points made, field goals made. So to the extent we don't have any distant scoring for kickers, these projections will work. And what's going on here? So we have a guy missing, Eddie Pinheiro, who we have as the Jets starting kicker, and I wonder if maybe John Paulson has someone different for the Jets. I don't see the Jets here. Greg Zerline for the Jets. Okay. So it's not that we're missing Pinheiro. He has someone different projected, and 2 guys from Detroit. Okay. Whatever. We're still talking about kickers here. Let's get off that. So now we have all the projections in. Question. How do we get these projections reflected in the cheat sheets as opposed to the FF Today projections? Okay. Good question. Let's go to the Options tab. And you see here this box, Average Projections Allocation Keys. And it's set to number 1, FF Today 100%. Why don't we push that over to Site B 100%? And in fact, I can change this here to 4-for-4. Okay, and it updates this. Now we're 4-for-4.com 100%. Now the cheat sheets haven't changed. All we've done is change this allocation key. For now, if we want to get the projections reflected in the cheat sheets, we need to go to the Action tab and compile the cheat sheets again. All right, that's how Draft Buddy works. You make changes to the rules, you make changes to the scoring, you make changes to the projections. Then you need to compile cheat sheets again to get all the changes updated. Okay. Well, let's not do that yet because let's add our custom scoring. Okay. So for quarterbacks, custom 1 was passing first downs. I could change the label here to passing 1D or something, whatever. But it's just a label, okay? You're going to see that move over here, quarterbacks, and now it's passing 1D instead of custom 1. Okay, that's not really that important. The important thing is that we get the proper scoring in here. So there's a couple ways to use the custom scoring fields. You can rank all players if you're pushing rankings into there, or some other value you want to rank the players based on. But we want to use fantasy points. So let me check on my other computer the scoring for the first downs. And a passing first down. Oh, the passing first down is not included. I don't see passing first downs. Passing. I'm looking on my fantasy league site. Maybe passing first downs are included. Quarterbacks get enough. Okay, so rushing first downs. Rushing first downs are half a point for quarterbacks. All right, well that's our custom 2 for quarterbacks. So rushing first downs. Okay, and this 0.5 here. Okay, and then that will add to the fantasy points. In fact, maybe we should take a look at that. See where we're seeing it. So based on the scoring that's in there, and we change the allocation key, the projected fantasy points for Josh Allen are 439.1 right now. Okay, and that should include half a point for every rushing first down. He's projected for 43, so about 21 points. If I take off that, put that back to 0, what does fantasy points go to? 417. Knocked off about 21 points. Okay, great. That's 0.5 back there. And he goes back to 439. But again, you can see that, okay, so he's projected 439 on the quarterback tab. But the cheat sheets are not going to have that number. The cheat sheets are at 430, which were the prior projections, prior scoring. We have not updated the cheat sheets yet. So you see how the action tab becomes relevant. We're making changes. I want the 439 pushed over here eventually. Then I'm going to have to use the action tab to recompile. But let's do the rest of our scoring first. So running backs, we had rushing first downs. And I said the label didn't matter, but here I go changing it. Receiving first downs. For running backs, 0.5 for each. Checking, yes. And the wide receivers are going to be the same. Up there, 0.5, 0.5. Oh, the wide receivers, we don't have projections for rushing. Yeah, there should be receiving first downs. Go back to custom. Nothing in that column anyways. And tight ends, again, we only have receiving first down projections. But they get a bonus. They get an extra half. So they get 1 point for every receiving first down. And I'm double checking these passing first down. Passing first down. Nope. No passing first downs. Okay. I do want to check some of the other scoring. Passing first downs are 6. Rushing and receiving touchdowns are 5.5 each. Do I have that in here? Oh, I have 6. 5.5. You know, I probably put it at 6 last year to account for you get a first down when you get a touchdown. 5.5 there. 5 here. 5 here. Actually, its rushing should be 5.5 for quarterbacks as well. And rushing attempts. I'm looking at my other computer here. Nothing for rushing attempts. It should be 0. Okay. I'm going to double check. I'll go double check all the scoring afterwards. But the point is, setting this up is we want to show you how to prep draft buddy. And then the tight ends, they get 5 points for rushing touchdowns and receiving touchdowns. So while the quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers get extra, that's rushing and receiving, the tight ends are a little less. Well, that's interesting. So this should be 5, and this should be 5. Okay, I guess we're taking away that, they're getting that extra for the first down anyways. Let's pull it away from there for the touchdown. Okay, and now let's go to the Action tab and get these new projections reflected in the cheat sheets. I hit Compile Cheat Sheets. If Josh Allen stayed at 439, which I think he did, we should see that projected fantasy point number on the cheat sheets once this runs. $425. Let me go to 425. Oh, because I reduced the touchdown numbers. Right. So 425 now matches up. Yeah, here's Josh Allen at 425. I go to the offense tab. He's at 425. Okay, great. So there are the cheat sheets for the Scott Fish Bowl scoring and using the 4-for-4 projections now instead of the FF Today projections, because we went through the whole process of pulling them in, getting first down projections, using all the 4-for-4 projections, and this is how they happen. And you can see Aaron Rodgers is really bumped up here, in part because of the accuracy. You know, we've got scoring for completions, negative for incompletions, and negative for interceptions. What's the interceptions? -4 for pass interceptions thrown. Thanks. So Rodgers being one who does not throw a lot of interceptions, you know, has bumped up his fantasy points here. So anyways, there's projection, and there's the overall rankings. Now, people are going to disagree with this, I think, because the quarterbacks, you know, they're going to feel the quarterbacks are going to be higher. And I think in a lot of drafts, the quarterbacks are going to get drafted. Like 8 to 10 quarterbacks could get drafted in the first round. And Draft Buddy's not saying to do that. So you have to balance a little bit the scarcity, you know, read the room. If the quarterbacks are getting taken quickly off the board, you're going to be left behind. Then, yeah, you move the quarterbacks up. But I do think from a pure math standpoint, it's saying, you know, the quarterbacks aren't as valuable as people think, because it's not like a regular league with starting and just start 2 quarterbacks. Like if it was a regular league and start 2 quarterbacks, it would be start 2 and then 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and you go and gone. So what's that total? So 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 starters. Okay, but we actually are starting 11. Okay, so the fact that it's Superflex and you have a second quarterback, you know, you have many more starters though. So those other positions are more valuable than they would be in a standard league that is just adding a second quarterback. So that's just my quick take on that. You know, I think I will post up these files for Draft Buddy members. So if you are playing in the Scott Fish Bowl and you want to pull down these files and just use them straight away, then you certainly can. Yeah, let's and then you'll get the 4-for-4 projections as well, which is a little bonus, but it should be for members only. So sign up 4-for-4, use Draft Buddy, and good luck in your Scott Fish Bowl and all other drafts taking part. You know, starting today, draft season. All right, cheers.